Kelso, a beloved Division II agent, has gone missing. One of the few that I trust, and it saddens me that only remnants of her memory come and go. Clearly, something unsettling is going on, and Kelso is caught in the middle. Today, I have a build for you to commemorate her as a decorated Division II agent. In the base of operations, I was able to find her tactical gear assigned to her unit. I wear it today as I showcase her build in action. This is what she used, and because of it, deserved the rank she earned while dispatching any faction that attempted to thwart the division's plans. But when thinking of Agent Kelso and what build she would use, there was a lot to consider. We know that she uses the P416 assault rifle, along with the Marine Super 90 shotgun for the secondary. And the skills she uses are a striker drone with an airburst seeker mine. This seems like a disaster when it comes to synergy. But the build actually turned out to be a masterpiece that offers so many angles of versatility in terms of lethality. So I'm eager to show you what I came up with, because a lot of my motivation to create this came from your suggestions on X and YouTube. So let's see what we got here.
We found more footage of Kelso in the financial district. Secure the area and see if you can find any leads on what she was doing.
Okay, so here's the build, and I was struggling, not really struggling, but really trying to decide exactly how I wanted to do this. At first, I wanted to do a customized approach where I just thought, what would Agent Kelso use in general? What do you think Agent Kelso will use? And I'm like, hold on, I can't just do that. There has to be some indication of what she's using. So I went to Twitter/X and I asked people on my community post on YouTube, the Agent Kelso build is coming. What do you guys think that she will wear? What type of build do you think she would use? So the comments began flooding with suggestions, and most of them came from the Grand Washington Hotel mission, one of the only times that you fought alongside Kelso. And every time you fight along Agent Kelso, she has this setup right here in terms of the weapons and the skills. As you notice, I have the custom P416 and the Marine Super 90. That's what's on her back, and she usually sits back using the drone, striker drone, and an airburst seeker mine. So how can we do this? Because this is a lot of things mixed together and a lot of attributes that you have to combine in order to make all of these weapons and skills effective simultaneously. This is the beauty of hybrid builds and the beauty of the Ninja Bike backpack. So let's get into it. But first, let's talk about the P416. If you didn't know already, this weapon, it used to be meta. This P416 was the most sought after assault rifle in the game. If you had a God rolled P416, you were a lucky individual. One of the reasons is because of its insane weapon handling. This thing shoots like a laser beam whether you have weapon handling or not on your build. I ended up rolling damage to targets out of cover on it, and it already came with Optimus. Now, the reason why it was special back in the day when you got one of these also was because you can't even craft this at the base of operations at the crafting station. It's not available, and it was also before Countdown, so it was a really rare weapon for you to attain back in the day. But now things are different. You have Countdown, you still can't craft this in the base of operations, but when I went into a Countdown match, I immediately got this before the match was even over. I actually got another one as well, but I'm not really going to use that one. This one has overflowing and it has critical hit damage. Can't really do anything with that, but this is what I wanted to do because I was trying to figure out what talent I wanted on it. Flatline would be ideal since I'm using technician specialization with the laser link. And let's look at the mods. The laser link, this is from technician specialization. Specifically, it allows you to pulse enemies without using pulse. So essentially you have 3 skills when you're using the technician laser link. These 2 skills and pulse. Okay, so This is really great. So Flatline seems like it would be ideal, right? But when you look at the chess piece talent, right? Spotter. This amplifies your total weapon and skill damage by 15% to pulsed enemies. Now when you see the word amplifies, I've been doing my research on this, and when you look at Flatline, this also says it amplifies your weapon damage by 15% to pulsed enemies. So it's a question in my head that always lingers around. Is this redundant? If there are two amplifying bonuses, like on Spotter, amplifies total weapon damage, and then you have a talent like Flatline that amplifies your total weapon damage, what weapon damage are you amplifying if you're amplifying both? So it seems like it cancels itself out to me. I don't know, maybe you could help me out with that in the comment section below, which is why I have Optimus. And I tested this out in the gun range. The damage was very similar. There was not much of a change when it came to the damage. Plus, I just like the idea of Optimus, where it doesn't matter whether the enemy is pulsed or not, you're going to receive that increased damage bonus when you have missing ammo. Really great for PvP as well, because people use pulse resistance, and then sometimes enemies just aren't going to be pulsed, and you'll lose out on a significant damage bonus, because pulse is a huge thing right now in PvP in terms of the meta. A lot of people use pulse resistance, and a lot of people use pulse. So that being said, I thought this was a great talent to use in tandem with Spotter. Now let's talk about the secondary, because you know she had a Marine Super 90 on her back. So somebody suggested in Twitter that she should have like a DPS hybrid close range to mid-range type style, and that sounds pretty dope, which is why I have this Marine Super 90. You could actually go buy this at the theater where it's on sale with the talent Ignited. This amplifies weapon damage by 20% to burning enemies, and after 4 kills it applies the burn to the next enemy you hit. I did not realize how good the Marine Super 90 actually is. The thing slaps. I mean, the way that it handles, it has 8 rounds in the magazine, and get this, I'm using the Ninja Bike backpack. The reason why is because the Ninja Bike backpack opens up for so many more opportunities. Second and third attributes were recently upgraded by the developers in order to incentivize us using the Ninja Bike backpack over all of the other talents that overshadowed it and gave it no reason to use. Okay, but now look at this. The 2-piece Fenris gives you 30% reload speed. Now with assault rifles, this is very significant. I know you saw the gameplay, how fast I was reloading, and it's just amazing. 30% does wonders for you when it comes to the reload, and especially when you have a talent like Optimus, wherein you're going to reload after you get low ammo count. You're going to need to reload to get it right back to that damage. You know what I mean? So just one piece of Fenris allows for this. And you can also throw another piece of Fenris, 2 pieces, to give you 50% stability, but that's overkill. This thing shoots like a laser beam, as I said, without any of that. And then the reload speed that you need with this Marine Super 90, because this reloads 1 shell by 1. And when you're in the heat of battle, you're going to need those shells back right away. Now I wanted to get the yin and yang of crit right here, since this build doesn't have as much crit as I want it to have, but it has the good amount that I need, right? But these 2 pieces are considered the yin and yang of crit. You have the 𝐤𝐵𝐺 with 10% critical hit chance for the first piece, some hazard protection, which always helps, and then the critical hit damage for the Grupo Sombra, right? 15% critical hit damage for the first piece, and 20% explosive damage for my Seeker Mine that I'm going to tell you about in a minute. I can roll this any other way. This came God rolled, and I wanted to just keep the crit chance, crit damage stats here. Otherwise, your attribute composition is going to be critical hit chance and status effects. Because if you're not going to ultimately get the full amount of critical hit damage on your build, you want to shoot for the maximum amount of critical hit chance that you can get. I'm going to show you the stats at the end so you can see exactly how much I have. But let's move on, because every piece on here has critical hit chance or damage, depending on how the rolls came, with status effects. But mostly it's critical hit damage, status effects, because that's just how I was able to get it. Nonetheless, I was still able to get the amount of critical hit chance that I need to achieve my goal. Of course, I have the Picaro's holster. This holster works wonders when it comes to hybrid builds. You have the skill haste, you have the skill tier, which is allowing for me to have this 4 skill tiers on my build. Now, I didn't want to overkill the skill tiers on here. I wanted to prioritize damage a little bit more, simply because the P416 is just amazing, and I don't know, it just felt right to do it this way with Kelso. Now you may be wondering why I have status effects along with crit on this build. Well, that's because of this airburst secret mine. This is the secret mine that she uses in all of the gameplay that you play alongside her. It has a pretty high cooldown, not really that high, 23 seconds is pretty good, but you're doing a lot of things in this build, so this doesn't matter and you're not going to even really notice this. And when that cooldown comes around, it comes right when you need it, trust me. Now, I don't know if you know this, but this has been a known fact for a long time with the airburst secret mine. First of all, it was the meta secret mine in Division 1. People rage quit off this thing so many times, so I think they had to tone it down a little bit right here, because what it does is when you drop it, it doesn't work like the other secret mines. You can literally throw the other secret mines to a location, you could drop those secret mines, you could do more functionality with the other secret mines. This one, it doesn't allow you to throw it. You have to just drop it by your side and you aim where you want this airburst to fly above the enemy. And it's a little bit janky to learn how to use, but when you actually get it around those enemies, the burn duration is insanely long, 17 seconds. And with the status effects that I have wrote onto my build, that 17 seconds is significant. So here's what I do. My drone, like I said, my striker drone is always up. Whenever I see an enemy sitting behind cover or I see a group of enemies standing there, I launch my airburst secret mine. And if I want to, I run up on them with my Marine Super 90. Overall, I'm sitting back with my P416 playing tactful, going from cover to cover, doing what I gotta do. The synergy is beautiful with this tactical gameplay. And I almost forgot to mention that these Golan gear knee pads help a ton. The two-piece gives me 1.5% armor regen. That is a lot. This is a prime example, along with the Fenris chest piece, of how this was increased to 1.5% armor regen, and then for the third piece, 10% total armor. This wasn't here before, and this is one of those bonuses that you can literally see yourself in combat working, because 1.5% is a lot. I'm sitting at 1.3 million armor, which is awesome. I think that's a perfect spot to be, whether you're playing PvE or PvP. And finally, I'm using the Maxim 9, the technician specific specialization pistol that has perfect spike where headshots grant 25% skill damage for 15 seconds. Now let me show you the stats. Like I said, my critical hit chance is maxed out at 60% and I have a nice 95% critical hit damage. But you have other damage bonuses going on here. So that's pretty much the build. I think that this is a great representation of what Kelso is using. I know we saw the weapons that she was using on Grand Washington Hotel and the skills, but we had no idea what she would use as a build. And I think this is a great representation of that. Let me know what you think about it down below in the comment section. Actually, I was thinking about switching out that 𝐤𝐨𝐬𝐷 mask for a Badger Tough to give me some shotgun damage. What do you think? If there's anything that you would change in this build, let me know in the comment section below. Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel for builds from DPS all the way to skill. I'll see you in the next one. Be right out.